Welcome to Yankee Capital Partners Car Wash webinar, Tax Advantage Passive Income with a High Growth Investment Opportunity, which is the Yankee Capital Partners Car Wash portfolio. My name is Wayne Grover. I'm Head of Investor Relations with Yankee Capital. All right, so all of you should be able to see the screen. These are actual photos of a Tommy's Express car wash, very unique, well-branded, and an open area within the car wash for a nice environment. Just one or two things about who we are in Yankee Capital Partners. We are a multifamily real estate private equity investment firm, as well as developing and acquiring state-of-the-art car wash properties. We operate primarily in the red states. And currently we have just over 100 million in assets under management. And I think one of the things that I just want to emphasize is the cornerstone of our firm is open communication, aligned interest, and unwavering transparency with all of our investors and the investment community. We co-invest in every investment opportunity we bring to market. And what that means is that we invest as a limited partner alongside our investors. Reason being is, number one, we would never ask anyone to consider making an investment in a business if we weren't investing ourselves. And number two, it really does align our interest with our investors. So we're both operating on the same page. And at the end of the day, we're not only working for our investors, but we're working for ourselves. So let's talk a little bit about the car wash industry, why it's exciting, why it's appealing, what's the growth look like. We'll transition to why Tommy's Express, why Yankee Capital Partners is a Tommy's Express franchise, and what is exciting about that model. So, whether you're familiar or not with the car wash industry, number one, it's highly fragmented. Along with that, it's growing rapidly. And one of the most appealing attributes of the car wash industry is that the operations themselves are robust cash flows, great profit margins, and a relatively low labor cost model, which is continually decreasing because of the use and innovation of technology. Now, the car wash market in 2023 was just over $14 billion. That's expected to compound about 5% each year. Expected to reach about 28 billion within the next 5 to 6, 7 years. We've all seen consumers migrating away, not just within this industry, but every industry. They've been migrating away from doing it yourself, and they want someone else to do it for them, which obviously bodes well for the car wash industry. But specifically, it really it bodes well for the express tunnel car wash. That's the real growth segment within the market. And obviously, we have seen institutional investors entering the market over the past 3 years. They're buying small companies. They're building market position, affecting roll-up strategies, et cetera. And the reason being is it's a great business model. And again, with the high cash flow and profit margins, what's not to love? So just to give you an idea of how fragmented the market is, if you looked at the fast food industry and you looked at the top 5 to 10 players within the space, they make up over 50% of that industry's revenue. And then if you look at the car wash space, if you look at the top 5 to 10 car wash operators in the country, they really only account for about 8% of revenue within the industry. So what that shows you, again, fragmentation, great opportunity for growth, great opportunity to capture market share, et cetera. And so that's why that industry is becoming so appealing. Recently, Boston Consulting Group here in Boston, where we're located, they did a study on the car wash industry and specifically looking at the express tunnel car washes. And by their estimation, the market at today's demand for car washes, the market can support an additional 9,000 to 12,000 express car washes throughout the country. Now, if you take into account that the build out for that many car washes alone just to catch up to today's demand will take about 12 to 15 years. And you calculate that you typically build 750 to 800 plus car washes a year. There really is a long runway for growth, especially just to catch up to today's demand. So again, great growth opportunity, long runway for growth over a decade within this space. So Tommy's Car Wash. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with them. They are the largest and fastest growing car wash franchise in the United States, with just over 220 locations. They've been in business for over 50 years. And for the majority of that time, they have been a supplier of detergents to the industry, a manufacturer of the car wash equipment, all the internal car wash components. And about a decade ago, they started manufacturing modular buildings, much like the ones you see in these photographs, for the car wash industry. So then about 8 years ago, Tommy's Express, to create another growth avenue for the company, made the decision to start branding their own car washes instead of just selling everything to other car wash owner operators throughout the country. They did it the right way. They started building car washes in around their Holland, Michigan headquarters, and over the course of 3 or 4 years, really perfected the car wash model, perfected the franchisee playbook, and then began franchising out Tommy Expresses, so about 5 years ago. So again, an amazing company, growing the right way, a technological and leader within a space, and one of the most innovative companies out there. So just in terms of that technology and innovation, these 4 photos show what a Tommy's Express looks like on the inside. Unlike those dark, dingy, low-profile tunnels that have been around, Tommy's Express's open air environment allows their employees to access the equipment much more easily. Obviously, reduces safety, reduces liabilities, increases safety for workers. Their patented buildings are all LEED certified, so environmentally friendly. You can see the roof structure that lets in natural sunlight to save on electricity costs. One of the unique things about Tommy's Express as well is that they use a low-profile conveyor belt system to get your car or vehicle through the car wash. So you no longer have to line up your cars through those metal bars, which we've all experienced have damaged our tires and rims on the car. So that's completely eliminated. Typical car wash for Tommy's takes about 3 minutes to get through from the entry gate until exit. Along with that, they use a license plate reading technology. So once you utilize the mobile app for Tommy's, you literally just pull up to the entrance gate, it reads your license plate, and you're on your way. 3 minutes later, you're exiting and back on your trip. Everything is app-based. Everything's done on mobile phone. They use a cloud-based point of sale. Obviously, you never want your POS system to go down, so that cloud-based POS helps with that. Utilization is key within Tommy's. They've never had a location in the United States go down for more than 24 hours. Their 24-hour support team is there to help their franchisees with every and anything at any given time. So that's a pretty impressive record about the utilization, which is key. You never want to lose sales. Importantly, Tommy's does a great job with their water reclamation. They can reclaim up to 9% of the water to reuse within that wash. So very eco-friendly, also helps with much more difficult zoning and environmental regulations depending on the states that you operate in. And depending on the length of the tunnel, Tommy's offers 90, 110, and 120 length tunnels. But depending on the length, Tommy's Express can wash up to 200 plus cars an hour. So really impressive processing stat right there. This slide, there's a lot on here, and I just really want to address one thing. And again, please keep in mind, I know we're going quickly, but we're going to email you all the slides so you'll have time to be able to look at them. But I'd like you to just focus on the middle of the slide, the C area for the stainless steel construction. The typical car wash equipment life cycle is about 10 years. However, Tommy's is just over 20 plus years. And the reason being is that they use a stainless steel construction for their buildings and for their car wash equipment. And then including that, they have a patented mounting system for all their car wash equipment, which is a much more economically efficient way to operate for your company. This also comes into play on our exit strategy, which we'll talk a little bit. But obviously, when you have a 20 plus year life cycle of your equipment and you're looking to sell your car wash portfolio within 4, 5, or 6 years, that comes into play and makes it much more attractive because they immediately don't have to replace everything. So as I said, Tommy's is the largest and fastest growing car wash equipment, car wash operator within the country. They currently have just over 220 locations. They're expected to add 40 plus this year, and they're anticipating 400 to 500 car washes in the U.S. Within the next 5 years. One of the keys that I'll just share with this, one of the reasons why it's important that Tommy keeps expanding and they're growing the way they're growing is that in every geographic location, regardless of who the owner operator is, but for any car wash, you want to create density within each geographic location. So depending on the size and the population, you want to create ideally 6, maybe 8 to 10 or more, again, depending on the size, consumer offerings for your car wash within that geographic location. So you really only want your customers to have to drive every 15 or 20 minutes in order to pass another car wash. And that's what we're doing with Tommy's Express. So just a key point there that creating a robust offering is very key to attracting members. So a little bit about our car wash and just a brief overview. So as I said, we are purchasing 3 operating Tommy's built car washes in Oklahoma City. And what we mean by Tommy's built is that it's the Tommy's Express patented building, and it's the Tommy's Express equipment inside the building. So the conversion after we purchase these is quite a simple process of replacing the signage, and just replacing the POS system. It's also important to note with the 3 locations that we're buying that we are purchasing the land underneath the operations as well. So 2003, very strong, very strong revenue and EBITDA for the 3 locations. 6.1 million in revenue, about 3.4 in EBITDA. These are very cost efficient acquisitions. And what I really mean by that is that number one, that the portfolio as a whole, we are buying at below replacement cost on this portfolio. Also, we are buying at a significant discount to the independent bank appraisal of the 3 locations that the debt financing is done through. They hired independent appraiser to take a look at these. And we're purchasing them again at a very significant discount, so very attractive. And lastly, you're seeing car washes sell within the United States kind of between that 14 to 22 times EBITDA, again, depending on the size of the portfolio, age, location, et cetera, all important. We are purchasing these 3 operating car washes at 9.5 times EBITDA. So again, a very attractive valuation and purchase point for us. Obviously, I said that we're going to convert these to Tommy's Express when the sale closes at the end of this month. And by converting to Tommy's Express, number one, you're converting to a nationally recognized brand. So that creates significant opportunities to transition from the current management to a Tommy's Express management, which allows for operational improvement and enhancements, installing a Tommy's franchisee playbook, improving membership and driving revenue and EBITDA, which then ultimately leads to those quarterly distributions to our investors. And then lastly, we've negotiated with Tommy's Express on this acquisition, and we've gotten Tommy's to, first of all, waive the first year franchise fee and give us a 50% discount to the second year franchise fee. Along with that, they are going to be covering all the expenses related to the conversion, again, which is the POS system, building signage, road front signage. So all in all, we're saving approximately $1.1 million in fees, which is quite significant. So before I talk a little bit more about those three sites and what's going on, again, and this is just kind of going with, we will always want to be transparent and be open with our communication. Let's talk about the risk associated with car wash space and even with this portfolio. And even just starting from macro and going all the way down, obviously economic risk. We can't control that. But one of the nice things about the car wash space is that they typically are very economically resilient. And we've witnessed this during the pandemic, where car washes rebounded much more quickly than any other retail business in the United States. And it was the same thing during the 2008, 2009 recession. So again, economically resilient. Regulatory changes, again, not much that we can do about that. However, we try to mitigate this by operating within red states. And the reason being with red states are they're business friendly. Real estate tends to be more affordable. The zoning regulations are much more manageable, et cetera. Technological advancements, obviously, if a competitor comes out with some sort of advancement or achievement, obviously will impact us. But again, one of the reasons that we decided to go with Tommy's Express is because they literally are the technological leader and innovator within that space. So not that we've mitigated all that risk away, but we've certainly modified it. Obviously, weather patterns come into play for all car washes. One of the key things that you don't want to have happen wherever your car wash is located is excessive and extended rain. People just don't wash their car when it's raining out. So if you have a long period of rain, obviously you're going to see impaired performance financially with that location or locations. Now, one of the nice things about Oklahoma City is that it does have 4 seasons, and again, which we want to see. Beyond that, again, the more weather patterns that you have, the greater chance for more washes. So micro risk. Obviously, local competition always comes into play. And one of the nice things about the 3 locations that we're purchasing is that the nearest competitor is 1.25 miles away. Secondly, when you look at the site locations, which we'll cover in a moment, and when you look at them on your own, you'll see that there is essentially no land available for development in any of those locations, because it's a great concentration of commercial and residential. So there really is a very nice competitive moat built around these 3 locations. Now, that's also not to say that someone buys a restaurant or another building nearby, they knock it down and build a car wash. But in terms of development, again, there's a nice protective moat around these 3 areas. Customer preferences, obviously, they're always changing. But again, one of the reasons that we became a Tommy's Express franchisee is because of the customer experience, the value, as well as the technological and leader and innovator within the space. Real estate volatility, we own the real estate underneath, but obviously we can't control any of that volatility. However, why it was so important for us to purchase these at a very attractive valuation was to try and at least reduce that volatility in the long term when it comes to our exit point. And then lastly, operational risk, right? If you're not operating and managing the site location properly with the right people, it won't be successful, and it may not succeed at all. So one of the ways that we wanted to mitigate this risk is that we want to, and we've partnered with the premier owner operator and the largest Tommy's Express franchisee in the United States. So from day one, they're going to be managing these 3 locations using their seasoned management team. And again, the reason being is that we wanted to hit the ground running with the most experienced and the best operators for Tommy's Express in the country. Secondly, obviously, if you don't execute the franchise model, it's not going to work. And there are examples of Tommy's Expresses where the franchisee just wouldn't pay attention and wouldn't execute on the franchise model. They really just wouldn't listen to direction and are suffering. Obviously, we're mitigating that again by partnering with Olympus Pines as our operational partner. Hey, management and staffing, maintenance of the facilities, equipment failure, membership sales, CapEx, again, all risk involved. And again, we try to mitigate these on 2 fronts. It's number one, again, partnering with the premier operator of Tommy's Express within the country to run the 3 sites. And then it's Tommy's Express themselves in terms of mitigating a lot of these. Looking at, if you look at our model, everything is accounted for, including surprises within the maintenance and inventory, CapEx, et cetera. So we've tried to mitigate these as best as we possibly could. Lastly, safety and liability. Obviously, with some of the photos that you've seen, and even in my background of a Tommy's Express car wash, safety is paramount. Yeah, especially for the employees and then just as importantly, the consumers. And with an open, well-lit, very clean, non-slippery surface within the car wash, worker safety is enhanced greatly. And then secondly, you heard me mention earlier about the low-profile conveyor belt system that Tommy's utilizes within their car washes. One of the greatest areas of accidents and liability for all car washes is the entry point. And so by eliminating consumers trying to position their tires between those bars, hopping over them, possibly damaging equipment, accidents at the entrance have been greatly reduced at Tommy's Express. So again, limiting the liability there. So again, we try and mitigate as many risks as possible. You can't eliminate them all, but we try and do a good job of decreasing them as best as possible. So just a little bit about our advantages with this current portfolio. Typically, you pretty much see car wash opportunities typically for institutional investors. Our limited partners will benefit from tax advantage passive income, which I said will start being distributed at the end of the second quarter after the close. The nice thing is, along with 13+% annual distributions to our limited partners, they can also benefit from the growth potential of the car wash operation itself. And again, without the need for day-to-day operation, having involvement in the operations. One of the things that we keep on saying that it's tax advantaged, and we're projecting all taxable income from our quarterly distributions for the lifetime of this investment will be fully offset by depreciation. So effectively resulting in deferred taxes during the life of the investment hold period. Beyond the quarterly distributions, investors can benefit again from the long-term appreciation of the business and the underlying real estate which we're purchasing. As I mentioned, we're purchasing at below market multiples for the 3 locations. We're partnering with the largest and fastest growing franchise in the United States, Tommy's Express. We've partnered with the premier owner operator and the largest Tommy's Express franchisee in the country to operate these 3 locations. And as I mentioned earlier, we co-invest in every deal, and Yankee Capital Partners is investing $2 million as a limited partner in this investment, again, to reinforce our commitment and alignment of interest with our investors. You've seen our conservative projected returns, which they're there on the screen. I don't think I need to read those out loud. So again, 3 car washes operating within Oklahoma City. The real growth story comes from 2 out of the 3 locations. One is doing extraordinarily well. The real growth opportunity, again, is converting and ramping up the efficiency of operations, of installing the Tommy's Express franchisee playbook, and really ramping up membership growth and revenue. Again, as I said, we're rebranding to Tommy's Express after the close. I don't think I need to repeat anything else, but really at the end of the day, by converting to a nationally recognized brand and employing the Tommy's Express franchisee playbook, it's going to result in outstanding cash flow and limited partner distributions and exceptional long-term returns. Again, we're closing on this investment at the end of the month, but we will still be accepting investments up to 30 days after the close if needed. The 3 locations are all in prime retail corridors in and around Oklahoma City. The sites, again, were built as white label Tommy's Express, so that what that means is that it's a Tommy's Express building and it's Tommy's Express equipment. Again, it was just under another person's brand. If you look at the 3 site locations, again, which we'll go through quickly, again, nearest competitor is over 1.25 miles away. Each location is supported by national, regional, and strong local retailers and businesses. And 2 out of the 3 site locations are next to an on-queue convenience store gas station, which is key. The number 1 predictor for success, besides location and operating the business properly for a car wash, is to be next to a gas station, and not just be next to a gas station, but have access to your car wash from that gas station. So 2 out of the 3 have that again. So very important. Site 1 in Oklahoma City opened in May of 2019. So still recently built. 4.1 million in revenue in 2023. That should equate to about the same in 2024. So this is an incredible site. They have over 5,000 members. Again, oversized lot, 1.6 acres, great traffic volume. If you look down below, you can just see our 6-year projections. And I just want to point out a couple of things. Number 1, essentially, we're projecting growth for this location at 1%. And again, this location is doing very well. However, we believe that revenue growth will achieve much greater revenue growth than 1%. But again, because this location is performing so well, we want to be hyper conservative with our assumptions on that. And just to give you an idea of how well this site is performing, when we convert this to a Tommy's Express, this will be one of the top 5 revenue producing sites within the United States for Tommy's Express. Site 2 and again, Site 3, this is where the growth opportunity really comes into play. Site 2 opened up October of 2021. So again, very new construction. Last year, just under 1.5 million in revenue, half of that in EBITDA. About 1,700 members. Again, a nice oversized lot at 1.5 acres. Great traffic volume, and again, just a prime spot. One of the things that I want to point out again with the assumptions down below, that you can see in year 4, 5, and 6 that we're really projecting revenue of just around 2.5 million, just under 2.5 million. And why I'm pointing that out is this: if you look at the franchise disclosure document, which shows the average Tommy's Express revenue by year for site locations, and then typically by year 4 and 5, you're getting between 2.9 million to 3+ million in revenue. So obviously you can see that we're projecting that we're not going to hit those metrics. Now, we're fully confident that we're going to exceed that $3 million in revenue in year 5 and year 6. But again, just to be conservative within our modeling, we are being, hyper conservative with our revenue and growth assumptions. Site 3, again, another great opportunity for growth and improvement. Recently opened February 2023, so very new. Obviously, it's generating revenue and EBITDA, but only has a few members. This is an amazing location, 1.8 acres. There's a new multifamily development going on right behind it. Again, great anchor retailers surrounding this whole area, and not just local and regional, but national retailers and businesses. And again, I just want to point out, again, revenue projections. The average Tommy's Express store year 4 and year 5 is producing about $2.93+ million in revenue. And we're forecasting that we're only getting up to $2 million. Again, we are highly confident that we're going to exceed that $3 million mark. But again, it's just how we operate. We're very conservative in our assumptions. We would rather underpromise and overdeliver, which then means that there's upside potential to the projected returns that we're forecasting. So the offering itself, again, it's closing at the end of this month. We're raising $10 million. We're financing $20 million, and just so for the capital stack for the loan that we've secured, it's $20 million loan. It's fixed rate. It's a 5-year term with the option to extend to year 6 and then year 7, 20-year amortization, no prepayment penalty. And impressively, we have a 1.9 debt service to coverage ratio, which is extraordinarily strong. When you look at other car washes, even multifamily, you typically see kind of 1.2 to 1.3. So we've taken a lot of risk out of the capital stack, and this also attests to the very healthy cash flow that's taking place. We have 3 different investor classes, obviously minimum investments with each. Investor returns are heightened as you bump up in each investor class. Again, our distributions are quarterly. We're going to begin distributions to limited partners at the end of the second quarter after the close. We have a 10% preferred return, and then obviously you can see our projected returns there. The operational promote and capital event promote structure, again, very straightforward. I don't think I need to go through this. You'll also have time to look at this when we email you everything afterwards. And I think one of the things that I just want to point out that although it says it in a lot of the slides, it just might not be readily apparent. In our model, we're assuming exit of these car washes at a 14 EBITDA multiple, which is at the very bottom of the range. And especially that is low considering the technology, the innovation, the newness of the locations of Tommy's Express, the equipment, et cetera. So again, we're just trying to be very conservative in the majority of our assumptions. We've also included projected investor cash flows, so limited partners or investors can have an idea of what those cash flows will look like. And kind of just to give you an idea, we're projecting just over 13% dividend yield or cash on cash for the life of the investment. So that's the average dividend yield or cash on cash. Year 1, it'll look closer to 11+%. Mid-range, and then it'll ramp up from there. You can also kind of see, quarterly distributions. And again, you can look at this when we send it out in much greater detail. So just to recap, strengths of the Yankee Capital Partners car wash portfolio, 3 operational sites. So this is not a development deal. No one has to wait 3 years to start receiving distributions, along with heightened risk with a development deal. Again, great EBITDA, very healthy revenue, but the growth story is really improving operations and bottom line at all three locations, but mainly Site 2 and Site 3. Obviously, we acquired at very attractive valuations. Expertise with Tommy's Express and our GP operational partner, Olympus Pines, helps de-risk the investment. The conversion to a nationally recognized brand, again, will help with the operational efficiency and attraction of consumers. Obviously, the tax strategy, highly beneficial, very healthy. Our commitment and investing $2 million as a limited partner, again, to completely align our interest with our investors. And then one of the things I haven't mentioned previously, there's a portfolio size advantage here that I didn't touch upon. Obviously, the larger the portfolio, typically that's resulted in a much higher EBITDA multiple upon exit. And Olympus Pines right now has 20 car washes up and running. Within the next 2 years, they're expecting to get to up to 100 locations. And we have the option to include these 3 locations within the Olympus Pines portfolio if and when they exit. Secondly, our goal for Oklahoma City is not just to have these 3 car washes, but we're looking to expand from anywhere to 8 to 10 Tommy's Express car washes within the Oklahoma City area. Again, so there'll be these 3 car washes. We've identified development sites as well as some potential acquisitions as well. If you haven't done so and you'd like to take a look at again all the details of the investment, please visit our website, yankeecapitalpartners.com, which you can see on the screen. At the home page, you see open for investment, our car wash portfolio. You click that will bring you to our investor portfolio. You can view investor presentations, again, photos, all the details, projected returns, as well as all the legal documents, et cetera, are there for your review. So with that, thank you very much. Any additional questions, or if you'd like to talk to me, you have all my contact information. Feel free to call me or shoot me an email. So again, thank you much for your time and look forward to speaking with you very shortly.